What's up, everybody? It's your boy J Rock. Today I'm gonna be hitting you with another X-Men review. Right now we're gonna be reviewing Cable issues 1 through 4. You can find a trade paperback called Cable Classics. It includes these issues, plus it includes New Mutants 87, which is Cable's first appearance. So you could kind of get an idea of who the character is and so forth. Here we're not gonna cover the New Mutants issue. We're just gonna cover the issues 1 through 4 of Cable. Now, this trade paperback also includes Blood and Metal. It's a 2-issue story arc. That one, I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the Executioner Song trade paperback because that event happens right before Executioner Song, if we go in chronological order. Now, that's included in this because you kind of need to know that information in case you're just picking only this book up. You're going to not know everything that's going on unless you read that storyline first. But here, we're just going to talk about the main 4 issues. This Cable series started back in 1993, I believe, right? So it was written by Fabian Nicieza, artwork by Art Thibert. Now they were getting to this point in Cable's history or whatnot, where they want to flesh out the character a little more, develop him, and he's in the X-Force series, and at this time he's believed to be dead. So the X-Force are on their own without him, and they're giving time to Cannonball and some of these other characters to shine, right? So Cable doesn't take all the spotlight. And they said, you know what, if we have him there, he's going to get all the big moments and they're not going to get the time, right, on the pages and whatnot. X-Force is developing those characters, and we decided to give Cable his own series where we flesh him out in his history and so forth. Henceforth, that's why we had this series, right? Okay, so right away at the beginning, we have Cable, and he has this terrible haircut. He looks horrible. I don't know who came up with this idea. And he has a big goatee. It's meant to make him look different. He's in a different time. He's like, he comes from the future, and he comes from a very gritty world, much like Terminator. And they even have this group they're fighting in the future called the Canaanites. And here he's with his team. I forget the name of the squad he's with, but he's constantly in different teams. He had the team called the Six Pack. Then now he has X-Force, that are a younger group. And then now it's showing he used to have this other old team, right? So he's been around the block a few times. It ain't his first rodeo. He's very war-ridden. He's been there, done that type of character. Now at this point, we're in the future. Cable's fighting this guy named Stryfe, who's kind of like his main villain in the future, right? And in the Executioner Song, it was revealed to be like a clone or a twin of Cable. Big reveal in that storyline. And here, Cable's fighting him, and he has a son named Tyler, and he's being manipulated by Stryfe and this and that, and they have a past, they have a history, not a good father-son history. So he's turning on his father, on Cable, and he's helping Stryfe. And so you could tell, obviously, this future's all fucked up. It's all bad for Cable. He's suffered a lot of losses. A lot of friends have come and gone. He's a soldier. He's always at war. So a lot of characters are dying through the Cable issues. And even when they show his past in the X-Force stuff, you see he's had a lot of loss. He's lost a lot of teammates and so forth. Now, during war, he's killed his own son, or he's at least shot him. We know he's at least shot his own son. He didn't hesitate. He always makes those tough calls. He has shot some of his own friends, because it's war, so they don't give up information or they don't give away their position once they're captured or whatever. He's like, hey, if you gotta kill him, right? Like, he has that type of mentality. And they're battling this group called the Flatliners. One of them takes one of his teammates hostage, doesn't hesitate to shoot him and kill him. There's the things that you just killed that person, right? And he's kind of telling them, you're getting to see he makes tough calls. He doesn't care about human life. And he's saying, guys, like, if you were him, he's lost a lot of friends. A lot of friends have gotten killed. You can't afford, it's a war, right? You can't afford to hesitate. You don't kill these guys, they will kill your partners or you. Right, so you have to think that way. It's a war, and some of these other guys are having trouble getting that through their head. They think he's just very cold-blooded, but they haven't been through the mud like he has. He's been in the thick of it. But he's fighting a never-ending war where people constantly drop on both sides, be it good guys or bad guys, right? Now, Cable has this teammate named Bulk. He's like a cyborg already. I guess he died in a previous life, and they saved his brain and they gave him a cyborg body. And here Cable asks him, he has all these superpowers and so forth. And Cable asks him, they're in this tough situation where they can't get out of it. Cable asks him to explode itself like a nuclear bomb. So it'll kill everybody in the vicinity and they could get away. So basically to pull kamikaze. He does it for the team, they get away, and the rest of the teammates are pissed at Cable. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just asked this guy to kill himself. And he's like, we could repair him. He's a machine. We'll rebuild him. They're like, yeah, but it takes years to rebuild him. It could take months. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. Because they've done this before and it took a year last time. And they're like, you just don't care about him. His brain is still him. Yeah, his body's mechanical, but it's still a sentient being because it's still his brain, right? So we have that whole debate: is he a machine? Is he a man? Like, what makes him human? What makes him not human? Right? They have that debate. One of the girls on the team just punches Cable in the face, and she's just had enough of his attitude. Right? We had 2 issues of Blood and Metal. There, he shoots his teammate, makes him paralyzed, where he can no longer walk because it was just for that. Because he was gonna give away some technology to the villain, and he couldn't let him do that. Then he shoots his son, and now he asks his other cyborg homie to explode himself. So right away, you're getting a feel for what kind of guy Cable is right here in this series. This series is not like in X-Force. Cable's pretty hardcore right there, but on this other series on Cable, right away you're seeing he's even more hardcore. Like, he's a take no prisoners type of guy. Like, I wouldn't say he's not likable because I still like him here, but he has a whole different mentality because they are in the future, where the future is a lot more hardcore. So just to survive in it, you gotta be a lot more hardcore yourself. They're not in the past, in our time. Now we go back to the past, being our current time. Kane and Cable are in this time, hoping that they could change stuff here before, and it'll somehow change the future, right? If they stop certain events. He's a time traveler. The rest of the team always knew there was something shady up with him. Then they find out he travels through time all the time, right? So I guess that could be why he just takes no prisoners. He doesn't care because he always figures, I'll go back in time, I'll change it, I'll save them. Like, there's always a way to bring them back, right? So I guess that's kind of his attitude. So he goes back in time with Kane, and they gotta change some stuff in the past, and then our future won't be so shitty, right? And there's an awesome moment where they're just in this hideout, like a bunker, kind of like soldiers would be. And they have some beer there and they're just drinking. And they're talking about old war stories, how they've been through it all. And Kane's like, after all this asshole shit you did, I don't know why I still ride with you sometimes. And he's like, because it's a war, and you know that I'm just making the tough calls. It's not me just wanting to do this stuff. And they're having some guy talk, a moment right there between the two, and they're getting drunk as they prepare for the next day. Then we get to this guy named GW Bridge. He's a badass character, and here you see him. He's already old past his prime, and he's still freaking badass. He's just on this snow skiing and with 2 guns, not even holding anything else, right? Just shooting people while he's skiing. And he's on his way to this hideout that was, I believe, Cable's old hideout. So he's looking for Cable because he was an ex-member of the Six Pack. And he's showing he still got it. He left the Six Pack to work with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury. He had a fallout with him. Him and Nick Fury bumped heads a lot because he's very hard-headed. He has his beliefs about we do things my way. And Nick Fury, if you know Nick Fury, he's very much the same character. They're 2 heads in the same coin, basically. So 2 alpha males is not going to work out. And that's why his relationship with Cable didn't work out, because Cable's very much like that too. So that's why the whole Six Pack thing didn't work. But if you follow Six Pack, they're all a bunch of hard motherfuckers. Like, they're all hard asses, war-ridden vets. When you see Cable and his groups he's in, they're very testosterone driven, right? Everybody's like, you could just feel it. Like it's a fucking dick measuring contest between the men and the women. Everybody's like, been there, done that. There's no followers. Everybody wants to lead. And that can lead to problems sometimes. So GW Bridge, he finds Cable's old hideout, but he was looking for the ship, Grey Malkin. Turns out the ship had been exploded in the previous story arc on X-Force. So the ship had been exploded, but the ship has this like AI, right? The AI is still around. And it's in this hideout of Cable working through the coffee maker and the television and other stuff, right? And GW Bridge is talking to it when he gets to Cable's hideout. He's like, hey, I thought you were destroyed with the ship. He goes, no, just the ship was destroyed. I'm the AI. I'm separate from the ship, right? And I guess Cannonball saved the AI for whatever information he needed to save it for. So what GW Bridge is like, okay, so you still work, then make me some coffee and make me an espresso, right? He's drinking and he's having a chat with this AI to get information about everything that's been going down. And while Bridge is doing this, actually, he was there in the ship with Shield fighting the X-Force when that ship blew up because they went to try to steal this technology from the ship. So now that he's over here in Cable's hideout, Cable shows up with Kane. They see Bridge, like, you motherfucker. Like, they at this point don't like each other, so they're fighting. They're getting it on. They're scrapping, and once they're done, while they're fighting, Kane is making coffee. He's like, this is how they always used to be back when they were on the same team on the six-pack. They're always fighting for position who would lead, right? So they're actually in a physical conversation, like in a fist fight with no guns or anything. And Kane's just making coffee. Once they both get exhausted from fighting, he goes, are you guys both tired yet? He gives them both coffee. That shit was pretty funny. It's like he was so used to it already. And once they've already calmed down, they're drinking their coffee, and he's like, what are you doing here, Bridge? Now they're on talking terms. And you need communication. You can't fix problems if you don't communicate, right? So now they figure out they're both on the same side. They're over their differences. They're like, let's get over whatever we don't like about each other. Right now, we're fighting for the same side. So while they're chopping it up, working out a game plan and so forth, the six-pack shows up because Domino on the pages of X-Force, she's trying to bring back the six-pack. She brought back Hammer, Grizzly, and herself. So that's 3 of the six-pack are with Domino. The other 3 are with Cable, being GW Bridge, Kane, and Cable. So those 3 meet up with the other 3. So Domino's half meets up with Cable's half. And then they're talking right there while they were drinking their coffee at Cable's place. They show up because they were looking for Cable. But when they show up, Hammer, one of the six-pack members that's on Domino's side, he's in the wheelchair. Cable put him there on the story arc Blood and Metal. So he's not there to reunite. He's there to kill Cable. He freaking hates him. I mean, shit. I would too. This motherfucker put me in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? So I feel where he's coming from. He's angry, and he rightfully so. And he tries to when he sees Cable, he tries to destroy him basically. Kane was like his best friend on the squad. He starts talking to Hammer, stop this fighting and whatnot. And he tells him, we can save you. You don't have to be in a wheelchair forever. We have all this technology from the future. And he's talking to Hammer. Hammer calms down, and he goes, well, what did you have in mind? Kane is explaining to him, look, we have this and that. You could be on your feet again and walking. But it turns out in order to do this, you will need a lot of cybernetic parts. Because a lot of these soldiers, they have limbs blown up and chopped off. Cable, half of his arm is metal. And Kane, his 2 arms are metal. And then every character in the group, even that guy Bogue, is all cyborg. Only his brain is real, right? Everything else is a robot, is mechanical. So all these guys, they have war scars. What can I tell you? And Hammer's no different. So does he. And he's thinking about it. He says, no, I don't want this surgery. I'd rather not walk and just stay in a wheelchair. Kane tells him, why when you can walk? He tells him, I don't want to be half a cyborg like you guys. He goes, once you're half a cyborg, look at Cable. Is he even a man anymore? Is he even human? Look at the way he freaking acts. Like, it's almost like he has no conscience anymore. So that was a nice little chat they had, and he decided against the surgery. He decided I'd rather just be in a wheelchair. So that's the end of issue 4. We really got a better feel for Cable. He's still kind of what we thought he was, but he's even worse than what we thought he was. Man, and then we got a little, we got a reunion. We got the whole six-pack back together, and now we got even an extra member. We got Vanessa, aka Copycat. She's now with the six-pack because the half that was riding with Domino, they saved her from Deadpool. So now we got all these characters together, and in the background, very much in the backstory, there's this evil villain that's shaping up to be the guy that's looking for Cable, right? He's looking for Cable and Deadpool. I guess he wants to kill both of them. he's hired by the humans, the big bad humans. So so he's after Cable and Deadpool, and he never got a showdown with them. But we got to see him talk to Weasel, and Weasel spilled the beans about who Deadpool is and so forth. But he says, "I don't know where he's at, though, so I can't give you his location." Weasel's kind of like Deadpool's right hand man. Then he starts asking Weasel about Tolliver. Tolliver's also a big bad. He's the one that hires Gideon. He hires Deadpool. He's hiring a lot of these new '90s villains that are coming up, that are this time new, and Tolliver's the kind of like the one that pulls the strings, like the puppet master, if you will. We don't know much about him yet. He's very like in the shadows. He's kind of like Mr. Sinister in a way. Sinister always works in the shadows and gets others to do his bidding. At this point in time, this is how Tolliver is. He's a very interesting and mysterious character. We don't know much about him yet. But we know this new big bad is not on Tolliver's side either. He's against all these guys. He's like in this mechanical suit, so I believe he might be a human. I don't think he's a mutant or a superpowered guy. He uses technology, right? So I'm thinking in the volume 2 of Cable, we're probably gonna get the showdown between them. But right now, we're getting a lot of things unfolding. We got the group back together. That was the main point of these four issues, is to reunite the six pack. We'll see what happens with his old team he left in the future. Don't know if they're ever gonna show back up. They didn't get much development, but they were very much kind of like the six pack as well. I think this was another group called the Wild Pack. He also had a team called the Wild Pack, but I think that was a separate group. But all in all, this was good. There wasn't a lot of story, but it was entertaining. It was fun. The art wasn't my favorite. It was okay. It was average. It didn't affect the story for me one way or the other. It was just there to do its job. For those of you that read the story arc before, let me know what you think about this Cable. At least in this first few issues, this is 1 through 4 on the '90s Cable series, he came out very hardcore. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Did you like it, or did it put you off? Like his teammates were very put off by his actions. Other than that, I'd like to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to watch this video. Hopefully you hit that like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.